Solving equations with variables on both sides. On both sides of what? Well, on both sides of the equal sign. Here's the equal sign. Let's divide that equal sign like we did before, and we call this a river, right? Like if a river, or in between those two sides. So on one side I have 2x, on the other side I also have a variable. So in this case, we have to join the variables together on one of the sides. And in class we said that we always want to maintain the x or the variable, whatever variable that is, we want to keep it as a positive variable. So to do that, I look at the biggest of the two. I have 2 x's here, I have 1 x here, so 2x is greater than x. That means this is the big brother, like we said in class. The big brother, he stays put. He has privileges. He doesn't have to move. Let's take the little brother and let's mess with him. So this x over here, which is the little brother, this is what I do mathematically to get him to the other side, to join his big brother. And what we do is, since this is a positive x and I want to make this quantity, I want to cancel it out from this side. I can't just pick it up and throw it out. I have to mathematically make it a 0. So a positive x minus x, that will make this quantity equal 0. So that's the way we eliminate it. Now remember, any equation we use, any equation we're working with, whatever I do to one side of the equal sign, I have to do to the other side of the equal sign. So if I subtracted x on that side, I have to subtract x on the other side. Okay, so 2x's minus 1x, that makes 1x. Bring down minus 1, bring down the equal sign, and then I have x minus x, that makes 0 x's, which is what I want it to happen, plus 11. So bring down the positive 11. And now we end up with a one-step equation. I have x minus 11 equal x minus 1 equals 11. So I add 1 to each side. And again, notice I'm adding 1 because I'm making this quantity equal 0. And I add 1 to the other side. So on this side I have x. Negative 1 plus 1, that equals 0, so that's gone. And 11 plus 1 equals 12. So x is equal to 12, and you are done. Example 2. This looks like a very long equation. First thing I want you to do is divide this equation through the equal sign. Make sure you see very clearly what's on one side and what's on the other side, okay? So on this side I have x, and on this side I also have x's, and we want to join the x's together on the same side. So what do? I look at the biggest x. Here I have 4 x's, here I have a negative x. So which is the big brother? 4x is the big brother, so he stays put. He doesn't move. I'm going to deal with the smaller one. I'm going to bring this one over to this side, okay? So how do we do that using math? Since I have minus x and I want to make this equal 0, so that's the way of eliminating it from this side, is by making it 0. How do I do that with math? Well, I add x, right? Because negative x plus x will give you 0. And whatever I do to one side of the equal sign, I have to do to the other side of the equal sign. So I'm going to add x to this side. And let's add. And here's what happens. 5 goes down. Negative x plus x, that cancels out and makes a 0. And minus 2 comes down. Equals 3 comes down, 4x plus x, that makes 5x's, and 5 comes down. Now, I still can't solve this equation because I still have terms that I need to combine together. So notice 5 minus 2 makes 3 equals, and I have this 3 plus this 5, which I can make 8 plus 5x. So I combined like terms, and now I can solve this equation. And notice this is a two-step equation. And you know what we do for that? We do our little table, our do-undo table. And let's see what happens. I look at my variable term, 5x, and I ask myself, what are they doing to this x? They're multiplying it by 5. So I write that, multiply by 5. What else happens to the variable? Well, they're adding 8. They're adding 8 to the variable. And now I switch these numbers, and I switch the operation. So if I'm multiplying by 5, now I'm going to divide by 5. If I'm adding 8, now I'm going to subtract 8. And we pay attention to what's going on here. So the first thing is subtract 8. Let's do that. When we subtract 8, we subtract 8 on each side of the equal sign. So on this side, 3 plus negative 8, or 3 minus 8, which is the same thing, this is equal to negative 5. And on this side of the equal sign, 8 minus 8 becomes 0, which is what I wanted, and 5x. Next step is divide by 5. So I'll divide by 5 here, and I'll divide by 5 here. Negative 5 divided by 5, negative 1 equals, and 5 over 5 is 1, so this is 1x. And remember, we always write the variable to the left. So your answer is x equal negative 1, and you're done.